The Steam Deck is providing the lucky players who have purchased it with a magnificent experience. After all, most of the best games you can find on Steam will work well on this beauty. This includes most of your favorite first-person shooters. And in this video, I will show you the best FPS for the Steam Deck. Arguably the best immersive sim title Arcane Studios has ever produced. Prey is less a shooter than a first-person adventure with puzzle-solving elements. Still, there is a healthy amount of shooting involved, and the whole thing works incredibly well on Valve's handheld PC. While it's possible to get an almost locked 60 FPS on the deck, we'd recommend capping it at 40 instead, as Prey is about as far removed from Twitch shooters as it gets. At the same time, you'll get far superior battery life to keep mucking about on the Talos station longer. Black Mesa drags Half-Life into a shower and washes all that 90s stank off it. It's a slick, often beautiful recreation of Half-Life with revamped sounds, animations, and an entirely new Zen section that turns the worst part of original Half-Life into maybe the best. Black Mesa's largest changes center around Zen, but it also remixes some old areas and adds completely new puzzles and others. Being built on the base of Half-Life 2, it also benefits from better physics interactions, but don't expect a gravity gun. This isn't a 1:1 remake, so it's not a perfect replacement for experiencing the original, but it is the best way to play a version of Half-Life in 2023. Apex Legends is a battle royale title. This may be a bit of a bold proclamation, but we think it is fair to say that it is the first battle royale title to have genuinely excellent gameplay. When talking about how it plays, it feels like it is better to compare it to team deathmatch titles. Apex is the perfect balance between the more arcadey, looser, pick-up-and-play friendly Overwatch, and the extremely sweaty, tremendously skill-based CSGO. The movement in Apex Legends alone is a huge high point. The roster of legends is also varied, and each legend adds a nice bit of variety. However, unlike a title like Overwatch, each character's gimmick doesn't completely define how you play the game moment to moment. And how does it run on the Steam Deck? Extremely well. Even on high settings, the game is extremely smooth, and by tweaking the settings a little you can lock in at 60 frames per second. If you have a Steam Deck and a solid internet connection, Apex Legends is multiplayer bliss in the palm of your hands. This list would have been incomplete without at least one Bungie title, and we ended up settling with the latest relevant version of Halo, thanks to the efforts of 343 Industries. Specifically, getting Destiny 2 to run on the deck reliably is a mess by default, and Halo really is the next best thing. As with Titanfall 2, you won't get any multiplayer playtime in MCC on the deck, but all featured Halo campaigns run and play amazingly well. Resident Evil Village continues the journey of Ethan Winters and his unlucky hands. As he explores the titular village, you'll fight Lycans, zombies, and more with all sorts of guns. If, like me, you were also petrified by Resident Evil 7 and couldn't muster the courage to defeat the Baker family, then rest assured that Village is a far less terrifying experience. The first run will still feel tense, and there are some horrifying moments, but overall the atmosphere isn't as unsettling. A big reason why? Village leans into the chaotic action of Resident Evil 4 and 5, handing you plenty of powerful guns that you can use to pop heads with ease. Village thrives on that action, and while the first half is a slower, more horror-focused experience, the latter half gives that up for an action game that fires on all cylinders. There are big boss fights, even bigger explosions, and hordes of enemies to slaughter as you see fit. If you're hankering for more, the Mercenaries mode offers action-packed time trials that rank your combat abilities, while playing the campaign with cheats is an absolute treat. Trust us when we say infinite ammo grenade launchers are the best. In the last couple of years, there has been a real increase in throwback FPS titles. Of the bunch, Prodeus may just be the best of the bunch. Obviously, due to its inherent nature, this isn't a graphical showpiece, but that doesn't mean it won't look exquisite on your Steam Deck. Don't get it twisted, this game is a looker. Also, while it may not squeeze every inch of power out of the deck, that means that it is able to effortlessly play without any technical hitches. Don't let the early access tag discourage you. Prodeus is a fantastic game worth playing now. Deep Rock Galactic is more than just a great example of a live service game done right. It is also among the best FPS you could play on your Steam Deck. True enough, endgame tier raids can get a bit hectic if you're used to playing DRG with a mouse, but the game doesn't so much as hiccup on the deck, and every part of its delightful gameplay loop feels right at home on the device. Expect great performance, great battery life, and more content than you could shake a pickaxe at. Okay, we get it. As a trigger-pulling, pulse-pouncing, twitchy experience, Spec Ops is really only okay. What it does do better than almost any other game in the genre, it puts the person back in first-person shooter. This is a game that delivers a genuinely powerful narrative, one which asks questions about the nature of humanity and the type of situation in which we often find ourselves in this genre of titles. Hey, we all need the odd existential crisis, right? Why not experience it on the go? Spec Ops is an older title, so it runs at a lock frame rate and won't exactly push the deck. The smaller screen also helps to hide a few of the rough details that you may expect to see in an older title. If you haven't played it yet, we strongly recommend you give it a go. On the go, the most exciting shooter of recent history, ironically, doesn't really have guns. In Neon White, an FPS speedrunning platformer, guns are represented by cards with secondary movement abilities like a leap, dash, or slam. Beneath its visual novel interludes and anime art, Neon White is a pure distillation of athletic FPS action. Levels often last less than a minute, but you can easily spend an hour perfecting a route until satisfied with your spot on the leaderboard. Perhaps Neon White's most genius design choice is built-in shortcut markers hinting at faster routes that require clever application of your kit. Titanfall 2 could have been the best single-player FPS of 2016 if it hadn't been for the new Doom. Nonetheless, if you want straight-up action thrills with a whole lot of flash, some particularly glorious movement and impressively stressful mech-based boss fights, this is going to make you very happy. And hey, there's a robust Soldiers vs. Giant Robo-Suits multiplayer mode in there too, building on what the multiplayer-only Titanfall 1 already established. That is, assuming you can find opponents. Titanfall 2 suffered from something of a failure to launch, having resolutely lost the marketing wars of late 2016. It may stay alive over time thanks to word of mouth, but even if it doesn't, definitely check it out for that single-player campaign. It is, however, on the brief side, so we strongly recommend playing on hard difficulty as well as making it last longer. It makes the mech fights particularly feel that much more satisfying once you finally claim a steel scalp. The modern Wolfenstein games are nothing short of a revelation. They are the right amount of sentimental mixed with the perfect amount of stupid. It should be jarring, but it isn't. However, if you are going to give these games a go, you need to start with the New Order. Thankfully, though it is nearly 10 years old now, the New Order has aged gracefully. This is a fantastic, pulse-pounding, weighty experience that provides an excellent style of aggressive gunplay that delivers a ton of impact. It is also, arguably, the best balanced entry in the Machine Games Wolfenstein catalog of titles, difficulty-wise. Oh, and don't worry about how it will run on the Steam Deck. You can crank those settings all the way up. Ghostwire does a fantastic job of walking the line between different genres. So yes, it is an FPS title, but it also has a heavy emphasis on open-world exploration. That means that there are tons of collectibles just waiting to be collected. Also, the only shooting you'll be doing will be with a bow, though that doesn't mean you don't have a colorful roster of weapons. It is definitely a different take on the genre. Players looking to kill a few minutes when out and about are going to be able to turn to Ghostwire with confidence. Moreover, it is great for longer, more sustained playthroughs. This is an exceptional, eerie title that delivers a fantastic FPS experience with a twist. If you are looking for something a little different, consider giving this title a go. Far Cry 3. Blood Dragon is a neon-soaked, retro-futuristic spin-off that pays homage to 80s action movies and video games. Set in a dystopian future where you play as Sergeant Rex Power Colt, a cyber commando on a mission to save the world from an evil army of cyborgs. The game's over-the-top action, cheesy one-liners, and vibrant neon visuals create a unique and entertaining experience. With a variety of futuristic weapons and enemies, Blood Dragon offers a fun and nostalgic twist on the Far Cry formula. If you love 80s nostalgia and explosive action, Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon is a must-play. While Arkane's new masterful title delivers in all the same ways that all their titles do, featuring some of the best level design in gaming, it also features the best, most frenetic gameplay Arkane has ever managed to implement in a game. The gun feel here is top-notch, and the powers at your disposal absolutely make for a fluid and creative style of combat. While you won't want to push your setting above medium with Deathloop, at medium settings it does run very respectably. Better yet, Deathloop is naturally segmented as you infiltrate the different locations, often with pretty specific goals in mind. This makes it ideal for bite-sized play sessions, perfect for a Steam Deck owner looking to kill a little time on the boss. Step into the boots of a legendary bounty hunter in Call of Juarez, Gunslinger. This first-person shooter takes you through the wild, Wild West, filled with outlaws, duels, and epic gunfights. With its unique storytelling style, the game weaves a gripping tale of revenge and justice. You'll track down infamous outlaws like Billy the Kid and Jesse James, using an array of powerful weapons. The comic book-like visuals and fast-paced gameplay make every shootout intense and exciting. If you're a fan of westerns, Call of Juarez, Gunslinger is a thrilling ride through the Old West. Bright Memory Infinite is a visually stunning FPS that blends sci-fi and fantasy elements for a truly unique experience. You play as Shalia, an agent tasked with stopping a military conspiracy involving ancient powers. The game features fast-paced combat, combining gunplay with melee attacks and special abilities. The fluid movement system lets you dodge, dash, and chain attacks seamlessly, creating a dynamic combat experience. With its breathtaking graphics and intense action, Bright Memory Infinite is a must-play for fans of futuristic shooters. Gunfire Reborn offers a fresh take on the FPS genre with its roguelite mechanics and colorful, cartoonish art style. Play solo or team up with friends to explore procedurally generated levels, battling waves of enemies and collecting powerful loot. Each run feels different thanks to the wide variety of weapons, abilities, and upgrades you can find. The game's charming characters and fast-paced gameplay make it easy to pick up but hard to put down. If you enjoy cooperative shooters with a touch of randomness, Gunfire Reborn is an absolute blast. While some of the best FPS games emphasize speed, here we have the odd duck of the bunch, Superhot. Nearly every scenario you are dropped into would be almost impossible to survive. The one thing keeping you in the game is that when you aren't moving, time moves extraordinarily slowly. This means that you need to carefully plot out every action, as the second you are moving you are going to be extremely vulnerable. It may not be the typical twitchy experience most FPS fans look for, but it is absolutely enthralling. It also features a simplistic, stylish aesthetic which helps it run on nearly everything. The scenario-based design makes it an excellent fit for the Steam Deck. ID got to sit down and reimagine what Doom is in the modern age, and it came up with a buttery smooth, highly acrobatic FPS that celebrates gratuitous indulgence while demanding discipline through HP-covering glory kills. Eternal brings more verticality, greater enemy variety, and an enthralling campaign that never seems to end, boosted by 2 great DLC campaigns. It's never just run and gun, and it's definitely not a cover shooter. This is what the Doom clone would have become if modern military shooters hadn't taken over the world. Let the latest run of Doom games be a strong kick to the pants gaming execs. The single-player FPS is stronger than ever, and there should be more of them. The second Arkane Studios entry on this list is the even older Dishonored, widely critically acclaimed as one of the best games of all time. It has aged like fine wine thanks to its stylized graphics. And, unlike its successor, which is a stellar title in its own right, it is incredibly performant and easy on the deck's battery. Dishonored controls really well on the deck, and for those who haven't yet had the chance to play it, we'd recommend doing so on the go. How to describe Borderlands 3? You could say it's the underlying principles of the first and second Borderlands wrapped up in a more pristine shell. Or you could call it World of Warcraft, the first-person shooter, with its heavy emphasis on loot, and more loot. Borderlands 3 drowns players in a sea of guns with varying abilities and stats, including a gun that shoots saw blades, and one you can throw like a boomerang while it carries on firing, wounding anyone nearby. Conveniently color-coded by Rarity, the colorful cast of characters breaks away from the traditional fighter, wizard, rogue archetypes, and each hero is memorable in their own right. It doesn't quite have the character of Borderlands 2. We miss Krieg. Oh, Krieg, you crazy barbarian poet. And none of Borderlands 3's villains fill us with anger the way Handsome Jack did. But in terms of shooting and looting, preferably in co-op, it still stands as the zenith of the Borderlands formula. Finally, there's Valve's crowning glory, the Half-Life franchise. Specifically, Half-Life 2 and its episodes, which function like standalone expansion packs. Recent updates to these games mean that they are a natural choice for the deck, especially thanks to Valve's work on optimizing how they control with a gamepad. As their story-focused single-player games, the Half-Life 2s are a great choice for the deck if you haven't yet played them. For those who did, on the flip side, this is an opportunity to experience them anew, on the go. So, did you like the games I recommended? So leave your like, subscribe to the channel to follow me, and activate the bell because I post a lot of videos on this channel and you can't miss it. Thank you very much for following me this far, and until next time, bye.